Hello, everybody! Welcome to Songs from the Shed on a lovely, mild sort of night. Not too bad outside. And, well, at least here in Stoke-on-Trent, it might be terrible where you are, of course. And we're starting the show there for the first time on YouTube only. So I'm hoping that we're all sort of know where we're going. I've got a few people on, so I'm sort of quite hopeful that we'll all catch up with each other and they'll all know where to go. If you find any stragglers out there, please do direct them to YouTube. Okay, there is a link on the on my Facebook page for tonight, both on the Goldstream Music one and my personal one, so they should be able to find me. And so yeah, let's see. That was by the way, that was a Paul Simon song called Duncan. If you haven't heard that, go and listen to the live rhyming, I think it is, album, great album. And Mum-in-law is with us. Hello, Mum. Philippa Duggins, who we can at last talk to and see on screen. Hi, Philippa. I hope you've had a good week. Yvonne is with us. And so is Andy Derrick. Hi, Andy. Hope you are well. And yeah, so here we are. New slot. Well, not new slot, a new... well, not even a new platform. Forget that one. That was a terrible introduction. So let's go on with the show. I'm going to do a couple of Carpenters tunes, although not written by the Carpenters, either one of them. I think they just point out the good taste that the Carpenters had whenever they did a cover. So here's a couple of those for you. Superstar by Leon Russell, of course. Much missed Leon Russell. And before that, It's Going to Take Some Time, which is actually a Carole King song, but made famous by the Carpenters on, I forget which album it was now. But they as I say, it just proves it proves what good taste they had whenever they were borrowing songs from other people. Okay, right. Okay. Well, we're steadily climbing. There's a few up. I think I've got 11 watching you, so there are a few stragglers. I notice there's no UHC people here yet. Vic, I don't know whether you want to just climb onto Facebook and just leave a message to say if you're looking for Aidan, this is where he is, just in case they've forgotten. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to take you back to the 60s now. One of my favourite bands when I was growing up. In the 60s. It was not it was the Beatles, and it was people like the Stones, but it was also people like the Tremeloes, and also people like this. This is The Seekers, and this is called I'll Never Find Another You. And another from the songbook of John Denver, Take Me Home, Country Roads. Of course it was. And before that, you heard I'll Never Find Another You by the Seekers, written incidentally by Dusty Springfield's brother, Tom Springfield. There we go. And Andy says that's one of the first tunes he learned on trombone, presuming the John Denver tune. Yeah, that's interesting. And Andy says he's cooking and listening. Okay, what are you cooking, Andy? Come on, don't leave us all in suspense. We want to know what's for dinner in the Derek household tonight. What's the recipe for today, Andy? And Jackie Handley was singing along to that one. So good, lovely. I'm going to do one of those ones that I do occasionally, where I sort of point you to a song which you may not be so familiar with. Some of you probably will know this one. It's it's a Jackson Browne song from his album Late for the Sky, and this is an absolutely gorgeous song. One of my favourites of Jackson's oeuvre. Fresh pasta sauce is what's going on in the Derek household, by the way. And Judith is trying to get on. Okay, Judith, we're here. We're still here. There's bound to be a few stragglers this time around, so yeah, we'll wait for it to gain confidence in the new platform. Those who haven't used YouTube before are maybe a bit sort of ooh. Anyway, this is that Jackson Browne tune I told you about. This is called Farther On. It's from Late for the Sky. and apologise unreservedly to Hamish and Bonnie if they are listening on the sofa next to their mother, because I don't suppose they approve of me playing a song about everybody wanting to be a cat. Strictly a dog household here. Cats are not they're persona non grata. Not with us, but just with the dogs. Okay, we have a few late arrivals. Finally got here. Who finally got here? Judith Aspinall finally got here. And so, yes, fine, good. Judy Lawton is still trying to get on, apparently. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Judith Aspinall had to turn the volume down because the sound is so good. Yeah, you will notice a big difference in the sound on YouTube. It is a much better platform for streaming audio with. And Judy is under the guise of Brian, who is a hubby, for those of you who don't know. I missed somebody up here, and I can't remember who it was. Right at the start, I think it was. Oh yes, it was my good friend Mish. G0J JIW. That's it. That is Mish. That is her call sign, by the way. Mish's call sign. Which, like me, she is a radio amateur. My call sign is G0PSH for anybody who wants to know. And yeah, that's Everybody Wants to Be a Cat from the Aristocats, Andy. Consciously plagiarised. Ooh, watch out for the lawsuit coming your way from Disney then. She's on disguised as Brian. Yeah. That sounds like something from Monty Python, really, doesn't it? But there we go. Anyway, right. One person we don't seem to have with us tonight, I could be wrong, she may make herself known, is our good friend Kerry Kirkland. I don't think she's on because I believe it's an anniversary of her husband Gary proposing to us, so they're probably having a romantic meal rather than listening to me yabber on. And I didn't know that before I selected to do this, so I thought I'd give you a bit of a treat. I found you something in the archive. Andy says it's in a grade 3 trumpet, but okay. no danger there then, Andy. Oh dear. Whoops indeed. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I was rooting around tidying up files this afternoon, and I found this recording from Kerry and I when we were working together here when she was living in the UK. Kerry, you will remember, has a new album out called Wild as the Wind. Go check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, or any of those other platforms, and be amazed. It's a great bit of work. This is slightly not in that league, but it's one of my favourite pieces of us working together. We recorded some demos as a band called Feels Like Midnight, and we then got a fair bit of function work, weddings, and so on around the country. And the visuals you'll see are of a photo session Kerry and I had with David Bagnall, one of the photographers at the Express and Star, where I was still working at the time, who very kindly agreed to do a foreigner for us. You'll also hear on this track, this was recorded at a studio in Sutton Coldfield, if I remember rightly. You'll also hear on this track Alex Jennings on bass and Jake Stacey, who's now a high-powered lawyer and earning far more money than any of us, on drums, but great drummer. This is the classic, what's the word about? Standard, that's the word I'm looking for. What a difference a day makes. This Feels Like Midnight.
What a difference a day made, 24 little hours brought the sun and the flowers where there used to be rain. My yesterday was blue, dear. Today I'm part of you, dear. My lonely nights are through, dear, since you said you were mine. What a difference a day made. above can be stormy. Since that moment of bliss, that thrilling kiss, it's heaven when you find romance on your menu. What a difference a day made, and the difference is you. What a difference a day makes. There's a rainbow before me. Skies above can be stormy. Since that moment of bliss, that thrilling kiss, it's heaven when you find romance on your menu. What a difference a day made, and that difference is you.
That brings back some memories, I can tell you. Yes, Mr. Smooth, or this considerably younger Mr. Smooth. But there we go. And but yeah, so Kerry Kirkland vocals, Alex Jennings on bass, Jake Stacey. I don't wonder if Andy knows Jake Stacey. He was quite prominent on the Birmingham scene as a drummer, but he trained as a lawyer. And although I tried to get him back on several gigs afterwards, when you're earning sort of lawyer money, you don't. Getting 80 quid for a night playing Mustang Sally isn't perhaps the most appealing of things anymore. Nice chap anyway, and some good times with them all. Right, I saw a documentary about Joan Armatrading the other night. I don't know if you caught that on, I don't know if it was on BBC 4 or BBC 2, one or the other, I think. And I thought I'd do you a Joan Armatrading song. And this is one of my favourites of Joan's. This is called The Weakness in Me. And yet another one from the John Denver playbook, Leaving on a Jet Plane, of course, which he wrote and got picked up by Peter, Paul and Mary. But I like John's version better. It has a little bit more sort of country twang to it. Pity he did leave on a jet plane. I don't think it was a jet, was it? It was a propeller plane. But anyway, a nice optimistic tune, says Sue B. Hello, Sue. Nice to see you. And welcome to Chris. I never know quite how to say it. Is it Klusmeyer? You see, now I've made a stab at it. I never thought to ask. I never thought to ask Kerry how you pronounce her mum's name. But welcome, Chris. And very nice to hear from you. And she enjoyed that little bit of her daughter singing "What a Difference a Day Makes," and the hilarious photo shoot shots. But good times, Chris. And I really miss working with Kerry. But we will perhaps try to do something by proxy before very long. I don't think that's too much of a secret. I can say that. We just haven't got round to it yet. Okay. Sue Pantin, Sue Ann Charles, says that she can hear you but can't comment. Okay, you need to get an account, Sue, is what it is. I think that's probably what it is. If you can't comment, you're not logged in. So just to, if you are watching, you can't comment, and you wonder why you can't comment, for next week, don't bother this week because you'll go away from the music. But for next week, go to YouTube and register an account. Dead easy to do. If you've already got a Google account for things like Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, things like that, then you already have a Google account. You already have a YouTube account because YouTube is owned by Google, as we all know. That just reminds me, I need to get rid of that Facebook icon at the top left. That's a job for next week, isn't it? Anyway, so that's what to do. If you cannot comment at the moment, it means you're not logged in. You can't have it. You haven't got an account, or you're not logged in on that account. As soon as you're logged in on the account, you'll see the chat window appear to your right, probably somewhere up there. Well, if you're looking to the right, it's there for you, isn't it? I'm always terrible at these things. I'm glad when I stopped having to point at things. See, I don't point at that. There we go. So yeah, there we go. Right, how are we doing for time? Just keeping one eye on the time here. Okay, going to do a very popular number by Christina Perri. This is called 1,000 Years. 1,000 Years, Christina Perri, and hello to Liz McCauley. Hello, Liz. Hope you are well. Liz and I, it's a choir thing. That's how Liz and I met. When Liz was, I don't know whether you still are involved with Second Time. Well, I don't suppose you've been doing much over the last 12 months like the rest of us. But yeah, I was playing for a choir called Second Time Around in Stafford, and that's how I know Liz. So I hope you're keeping well, Liz. Nice to see you online and good to be on your smart TV. Very mellow, she says. Okay, great. Shall we do this? Shall we do that? Yeah. Okay, let's do a bit of Crowded House for you. Oh, and hi, just before we get on to that, a bit of Crowded House. This is Andrew Bell saying hello. Hello to Andrew. Hope you are well as well, Andrew. This is called 4 Seasons in One Day. so well to that final burst. XTC, Senses Working Overtime. Fantastic song, fantastic band, and only because they stopped touring, I think they weren't bigger than they were. It was one of those things. I think I saw them on the last ever tour they did when they came to UEA when I was at university. And right, we got some comments about not being not being fit to see. Liz McCauley says she's glad that nobody can see her, that she's not fit. Yeah, it's not a two-way thing. It's all right. I don't think Google and Amazon haven't pulled that trick on us quite yet. Give it time though, privacy and all that. And trying to tell just I'm like, yeah, fantastic, yeah. Well, why you can remember it, because it's just a fantastic piece of nonsense, isn't it? There's some great lyrics from XTC. Yeah, I saw them. I think it was the last tour they did. It was on the English Settlement album, from which that was taken. And then Andy Partridge started getting very bad stage fright, and they stopped touring. But they were still making music, just the two of them, him and Colin Moulding, up until about 5 years ago, maybe something like that. And some really innovative music still. And then unfortunately fallen out, and I don't think either of them is sort of bothered about making music anymore. Anyway, that's the way it goes, isn't it? How are we doing for time? I'm just yes, okay. I think we're now on schedule. I cut one song out. It's always a bit flexible here because I'm Natteron and you Natteron, and we talk, we chat. So it's always a bit flexible, and inevitably one song gets cut. I won't tell you what it is because I'll probably recycle it for next week. Because that's how green I am. Environmentally conscious gold straw. Right, I'm going to do a couple of love standards now. Ones that always go down well, but love based. appointment of the Reverend Al Green, of course. Let's Stay Together. Before that, you heard All of Me by John Legend, not Katie Melua. Vicky. There we go. Right. Yeah, just a couple of more. Next week will be request week, another request week. So I think, yeah, it was Jackie who asked for Jim Croce's Time in a Bottle. I will look it up. I sort of know it, but I sort of don't. Jackie, that's the thing. I don't like to start things that I don't know the middle eights of for a start. Or where it goes after a transposition. There's a various thing. The first thing you learn when you start working and doing this sort of thing professionally is that songs you thought you knew because you heard the record, you find out you don't. I remember being recruited into a function band after I turned pro, and they sent me a list of the songs they were doing, and I was thinking, yeah, I know that one. And then about 2 weeks before, I thought I'd better go and have a look and just remind myself. And I found I really didn't know. It's not so much the tunes or the choruses or whatever. It's the structure of the song that you don't remember. Does it go to a chorus here? Does it go to a bridge there? Does it go to an instrumental there? Is there a break? Is there a stop? All those sort of things, and you think you know them, but you don't. Yeah, so I will have a look at Jim Croce. So next week will be request week. Spread the news about getting a YouTube account. If you haven't already got one, if you've got a Google account, you're in. You can use your Google username and password to go. So if you're on Google Mail, Google Drive, Google Calendar, Google, that doesn't exist. I just made that one up. But yeah, you should be able to get in. Otherwise, it's very easy to go and register for an account at YouTube, and you will be able to join in the chat, and you will be able to hear us. So I'm glad people are finding that the sound quality is much better over here, as I suspected most of you would find it. So it's been worthwhile, and we're not going to have any of those unpredictable sort of blow-ups just at the start of proceedings, and my nerves and my blood pressure will be vastly improved. I'm going to leave you now with two songs. So thank you very much for being with me again tonight on Songs from the Shed. Nice to have you along. We will be back, as I say, next Thursday, 19:30 GMT. I think it will still be I don't know. I'm going to say check the time, because we might have gone on to BST. I won't tell you about the whole thing about Vicky thinking we've moved on an hour and we hadn't. Already have done now, but there we go. But anyway, 19:30 British UK time, whatever that happens to be at the time, for Chris and all the rest of you on the other side of the Atlantic or halfway around the world or wherever you may be. Thank you very much once again for joining us for Songs from the Shed. I'm going to leave you with two that don't really need any introduction, but I will introduce them. This is Dreamy Little Dream of Me, and then we're finishing up with a bit of Elvis, Suspicious Minds. Good night, everybody.